Ladies and sinners, welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Kayle Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Kayle_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. This is hashtag IE Vegas, where we run stuff on IE Sports Radio in the Vegas heartland. I wouldn't call it the heartland. Let's be honest. It's the desert. It's the desert, right? But it's Sin City, right? And we're always playing with house money here on this show. You guys know how it is, man. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to kick it off with our Las Vegas Lady Aces. Their season is still going on right now. They're on the Olympic break. But we're definitely going to review the schedule. Take a look at where they're at in their respective conference, what the seeding might look like. Give AJ Wilson her flowers as usual. We definitely got to talk about the UNLV Rebels. Their season kicks off here just in a few weeks. We're talking about August 31st is kickoff against the Houston Cougars, and that should be an interesting game. We'll even review their schedule as we go. There's a lot of promise, man. There's some folks that believe the UNLV Rebels should win 8-9 games this year, and that's great. That's great for a company that's back on the rise with Barry Odom in charge. Definitely better than the Marcus Arroyo days. Let me tell you, definitely better. New facilities, new jerseys, everything's looking pretty good as of right now for the UNLV Rebels, and they're only getting better because that segues to one of the top high school football teams in the nation, Bishop Gorman High School. Bishop Gorman High School. They are a feeder for UNLV, man. 6 of the kids have been committed, or Las Vegas area. More than 6 kids are committed to UNLV this offseason. They will be 2025 freshmen, and that's exciting news. UNLV and Las Vegas in general, if you want to win, if you want to recruit well, recruit your area, man. Las Vegas is a great area for football. And with Bishop Gorman there, one of the nationally ranked high schools in the nation, we got to talk about them. We got to start adding them to our show. So we're going to make them a big focal point because we are a Las Vegas show. So we're going to talk about the Las Vegas teams that are there. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a backstory on Bishop Gorman as we get through there. We're also going to touch base on our Las Vegas Raiders. We got camp going on, folks. Fall camp. Yeah, it's July. We're in the thick of things. We've had padded practices. There's reports out there. I'll just tell you what I've read and from who, and make sure we cite our sources. But it's going to be an interesting season. There's a lot. I've been pounding the table for Aiden O'Connell. I think it's boom or bust with him, right? But there's a lot of folks that believe that right now, Gardner Minshew might have the lead. And if Gardner Minshew starts, we don't have our guy. We just don't. It's that simple. We'll get into that more. We talk. Real quick, we're definitely going to talk or go to our sponsors. We have Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky that's on a whole other level, and Cecilia Seal the Deal Wax Seals. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Special thank you to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Real quick, you guys, and I mean this, take advantage of it. There is a promotion going on with Planet Jerky. If you buy a pack, if you buy a flavor, and you post on IG, and you tag IE Sports Radio, you get a free bag, all right? Free bag of your choice, whatever flavor of your choice. Maybe you double up on that same flavor. Take advantage of that, folks. Take advantage of that because that's an awesome promo. Buy one, get one free is basically what it is. And all you have to do is tag the hardworking people at IE Sports Radio because that's what we do. We bring you guys sports on a consistent basis. Much love. Seal the Deal Wax Seal Cecilia B, the hardworking lady. Not only does she do a great job of babysitting and taking care of Larry B himself, she is also a small business owner, an entrepreneur, right? Take advantage of it, guys. Take advantage of her wax seals. They look beautiful, right? You can put them on invitations, wedding invitations, baby shower invitations. I mean it. I'm definitely going to be giving them a call because I got a lady that's doing all kinds of planning for this baby. All I care about is the Batman crib. That's it. That's all I care about is the Batman crib. But she cares about this little show, dog and pony show that she wants to do when it comes to the baby shower. I don't know if I'll be in that one. Maybe a diaper keg. I don't even drink. I'm pathetic. But maybe a diaper keg. Just saying. That's what we're looking at here. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Kayle Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Kayle_Henderson. We talk all things Vegas sports. This is IE Vegas. You guys don't worry if you miss the show, not a big deal. That's my husky in the background. Don't mind Onyx. He just kind of minds his own business. He runs the house or something like that. I guess he's guarding me right now. I don't know. Radio show. I'm getting emotional. No, I'm not. I'm not getting emotional. But he's like, Dad's raising his voice. I got to go down and see what's going on. He's policing. But say hi to Onyx, everybody. You guys saw him in the background. Lost my train of thought because of that little dingleberry. Gotta love him though. Yeah. So we were just talking. Hey, if you guys missed the show, don't even worry about it. We have every forum possible for you. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You guys can check us out on any Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Chaser, and GeoSvan. I mess it up every time. IE Sports Radio on YouTube. You guys can see replays of the show. Now that we're on StreamYard, you guys are going to be able to see YouTube videos at all times and see my ugly mug. And then during the season, we got whiteboard stuff we got to talk about. Special thank you to the folks in the chat. Jen B. Jen B is our Cleveland host. She's awesome. Always kicking ass, taking names. Thank you so much, Jen B, for tuning in. Taryn Rodriguez, as always, being the teammate he is, the amazing guy he is, host of many shows for that matter. One being Set Point, who is going to be one of our drops tonight. We love to give a shout out to those. And Taryn says, Onyx is cute. Hi, Onyx. Thanks, man. Onyx is, he's my special guy. No, it's true story. My vet tried convincing me he had Down syndrome. It was crazy. Like he's got different colored eyes and he was doing goofy crap in the vet because he was nervous. And the guy was trying to convince me he had an extra chromosome. So it was different. It was weird. So he's been my special guy ever since, but he's a good dog, super sweet. Great with kids, so we're really excited to see how he's going to be with Creed when he gets here. I have a female husky. She's 9 years old, and I've had her since she was 7 weeks. Her name's Sasha. She's a sweetheart. So yeah, that's kind of, those are my babies right now until the new baby comes in, and then then it goes Sasha, Onyx, then Creed. I'm just kidding. That's terrible. Hey, man, first come, first serve. Everybody's got favorites. They just don't want to admit it. Coach Prime admits it. Coach Prime admits it. It's the truth. There's favorites. It just depends on where you're at in the list that day. But Taryn's great. Taryn's awesome. He runs the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. He also runs Set Point, which we're going to play that drop later. And we have Ralph Calise. Ralph, the Yinzer Report, man, our Pittsburgh resident expert, dude. The Yinzer Report, baby. Gotta love Ralph. And Ralph, by the way, congratulations, dude. I think the last time I saw you had like close to 600 viewers on a show one time. I apologize. I'm always shorting you. That's my bad. Kind of like my ego, right? I'm always shorting you. 900 viewers, dude. What? That is awesome, bro. You deserve it. You're a great dude. I also love your accent. I love your accent, bro. You go hard. You go hard in the paint with that accent, dude. I can't tell if that's Pittsburgh or if that's New York. Like, it's aggressive. It's coming at you with the sports facts. I love it, Ralph. Thank you so much for joining the show. And then Jen B, as we stated before, a special thank you to her. She's part of the Show of the Land, our Cleveland resident expert. And she is on 6 p.m. on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right before our show, a couple hours before our show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if I remember correctly, that is Yukio. Yukio is also in the chat, like the Hall of Fame fan man of IE Sports Radio. The guy is amazing. If you guys don't know who Yukio is, you should. You should get to know him. Every holiday that man messages me. He doesn't have to, but he goes out of his way to say, hey, man, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. An amazing human being. Really happy to have Yukio in this chat. That is so awesome, man. He's such a great fan. Unbelievable fan. We need more guys like him. More guys like him in the world in general. That's awesome. Larry B is, as you guys know, he's doing the production tonight because I need a helmet. And if I had to do it myself, we probably wouldn't see the type of production. I'm just being honest with you guys. You know, it is what it is. Just being real. Las Vegas Lady Aces kicking off the season, or where they're about mid-season form. They're taking a quick break because of the Olympics. Obviously, playing for your country should take precedent, right? A few of the Lady Aces are playing for our country this year. Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, all of them were invited. All of them are part of the team. They're practicing. They're doing their thing. I'm a little worried about that. And the reason why I'm worried about that, not because they're playing for their country and their pride, right? That is not a problem to me. I'm worried about the mileage. We've talked about this for a few weeks here on IE Sports Radio, the Sin City Sports Show. When you go deep in the playoffs for 3 straight years, right? The last 2, you won a title. It's a lot of mileage on your legs, man. You're putting a lot of time on your feet. And now you're doing extracurriculars in another town or another country. You can't guarantee they're getting the same kind of nutrition they would here, right? They're in another country. I get it. It's Paris, France. Paris, France is a beautiful place. It's, what do they call it? A city of love, basically. Paris, France is. I have a thing against French people. I'm sorry. I'm American, so it's just part of it. They're wimps. They're always neutral. They could be getting bombed and they're still neutral. That's just the way France is. But just in general, Paris, France is a beautiful place. It's still like hours and hours and hours. Like what we're talking about, 16 hours away from Las Vegas. So you're still looking at a jet lag. You're looking at getting used to another time zone. You're putting in the mileage on your body while you're in Paris. There's not even a guarantee that they're getting the fuel they're supposed to be getting to be in Paris and perform at an optimal level. I'm not saying that's the case, but listen, with women's basketball the way it is now and the revenue share, and it's always up in the air as to how much money they're actually making and how well they're being taken care of as athletes. Imagine what Olympians are going through. It's just, that's the reality. I think that there's tons of sponsorships. I'm sure they're getting food. I just don't know if it's the same kind of nutrition plan is what I'm trying to say. It's just different when you get in a routine and you're an athlete. So hopefully that doesn't bog anything off or bog them down when they get back, because we're looking at a team that is still third in the Western Conference. They're 16-8 overall. It is a little bit of a down season compared to what we're used to seeing. But before they ended the break, I mean, they won, basically 10 of their last 12 games. So they're on a bit of a run. They have to continue that when they get back. But yeah, Paris recap is our girls from the Las Vegas Lady Aces are absolutely kicking ass and taking names in Paris, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's a lot of fun. You can see Kelsey Plum like right at the front of the practice sets a tone. U.S. women's basketball gelled ahead of Olympics. You can just see her there, number 5. Kelsey Plum is the all-around captain, the captain of Las Vegas at this point. Got to give her the love. Thing, and I'm going to say this, guys. It's just my opinion. I think Kelsey Plum is fine. All right. I have no problem saying it. There's just something I got. It was like the old, what was her name? Alex. Man, what was the soccer player? Alex Morgan. So fine. Like you just got a crush on some of these really fit chicks. I don't know what it is. I think Darren Waller fumbled a bag. I'm on that train. I think Darren Waller messed up. He got a divorce with the wrong lady. All right. Kelsey Plum is a babe, and she knows what she's doing. She's a boss lady. Okay. Gotta love it. Love the banner down there. I see you, Larry. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is next level production. I couldn't do this. There's no way. He's typing his fingers. He's got the thing go wiggity wiggity wiggity. Yeah, I just saw Rocket Power 2. I saw Rocket Power 2. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was the best show ever, guys. I don't care what anybody says. Nickelodeon was the tits. Number 5. Aces are number 5 right now in the league in general, 3rd in the Western Conference. Western Conference, as usual, is dominating majority of those spots in the top 5. Not to be surprised. AJ Wilson right now is currently the front runner for the MVP, and she should have been. She's been like that all season long. And Taryn, it's a ticker. Woogity woogity woogity. Yeah, baby. Everybody knows Rocket Power, man. People just don't want to admit it. Rocket Power was legit, man. You wanted to be one of them. Even though you weren't a cartoon, you were a real life human being. You wanted to be a cartoon when you were watching Rocket Power. It was epic. AJ Wilson, she's averaging 27.8 points a game. She's absolutely killing it. Those are NBA numbers, not WNBA numbers, but NBA numbers. And nobody else is even close to that 27 points a game. Not even the great Caitlin Clark that gets most of the attention. So I fully believe AJ Wilson is going to walk away with, I think she's going to walk away with the MVP. And I hope what that leads to is a third straight WNBA title for the Las Vegas Lady Aces, led by AJ Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young. We're going to go to a quick break here, guys. We got a couple drops from our partners or some of our teammates here at IE Sports Radio. We're going to show you guys Set Point and then the Yinzer Report. Set Point is hosted by Taryn Rodriguez, one of our fellow people in the chat as we speak, and Ralph Calise is the host of the Yinzer Report. When we get back here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Calise, the host of the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Yinzer Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports. And I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
Folks, welcome back to another section of the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It's what we do here, folks. Definitely want to give a shout out to our platform, by the way, IE Sports Radio. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been a mainstay international sports entity covering all things sports. And it isn't just the main sports. It isn't just the Raiders. It isn't just the Las Vegas Lady Aces. We also cover high school, right? All sorts of college football at different levels. I think it's incredible the reaches they have. It isn't just one niche. It isn't just one show from time to time. And I think that gives IE Sports Radio some uniqueness. So make sure you guys follow us on X, Twitter, Elon, don't sue me, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at IE Sports Radio, where you guys can check out all the hard work that our folks put in on a consistent basis. IE Sports Radio is also on YouTube. If you guys miss this show, don't even worry about that. We got every single forum known to man for you. We are available on Apple Pods, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Audible, Amazon Music, a lot of the main ones. JioSaavn, my favorite one to say. I don't care what anybody says. But that is, we're everywhere, guys. IESportsRadio.com. You guys can check out our merch. Make sure you guys purchase our merch. Check out IESportsRadio.com shop, because that is the way to support the channel. One of the ways to support the channel is purchasing merch, because that way we can keep this going and people can continue to provide content essentially for free. All we're asking for is a donation every once in a while to purchase some merch. So please do that, because that helps the show. It helps me live my dream of being a part-time sports entity, and maybe one day ESPN buying the rights or something like that from Larry B himself. Anyway, that's what we got to do. You guys can get at me on my Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Kayle_Henderson. We talk all things Vegas sports. We're going to head on over to the Las Vegas Rebels, right? The UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels. Their first game comes up August 31st. August 31st. It's on a Saturday. Super excited for that. The reason why is they're starting their season off with a Big 12 opponent, and I think that's huge. So you're playing one of the Big Four, and I don't care what anybody says. Like, there's no Power Five anymore. It's basically a Big Four, Power Four, and ACC is still kind of sketch now. So the fact that the Houston Cougars are part of the Big 12, they're part of one of the three main conferences in college football now. That's a big deal. And it's kind of crazy because experts in Nevada, as of right now, NCAA predictors are saying that the UNLV Rebels have a 62% chance to win that game. And that's crazy. So that just kind of tells you where UNLV is heading. They have the resources. We've talked about that for a couple of years. They use Allegiant Stadium as a home stadium. So they have a really nice stadium, indoor stadium, where they can host games on a consistent basis. They have a locker room, their own locker room, UNLV locker room in Allegiant Stadium. They have a $50 million football facility. I get it. You folks here, Alabama spending $400 million, Georgia spending $400 million, Texas A&M spending $500 million and still losing. Just kidding. But Texas A&M, that's kind of what you guys do. Unbelievable oil money, super rich, but they still can't win games. And we got a team like UNLV spending $50 million at the Group of Five area, right? The Mountain West, spending $50 million to get a new facility going, so these players have a really nice place to go to train, to study, to basically live their college days in peace and become better human beings. That's all they've spent, really. It's not huge money, but Las Vegas is growing, guys. It's growing. It's getting more and more popular as people move to more warm weather climate. Because, back in the 90s, I say this as a Lincoln kid, Nebraska was the place to be. Like, they were winning national titles. Everybody wanted to come here because of how relevant it was and how good it was. It's not that same atmosphere anymore. These kids want to be in warmer climates. They want to be closer to home. I think Las Vegas has has an absolute pool of athletes that they can choose from. And UNLV is doing a great job of selecting those guys. I mean, they have, just from what I've seen here, let's take a look here at UNLV. I believe they have almost a dozen kids in the next commitment cycle that are going to be from the Las Vegas area. And they're all 3 stars or better. And that is how you're going to win, right? If you're Barry Odom, you got to build from within. You got to bring these kids in that don't have to spend a ton of money to move across the states. Bring in the special athletes that you have in Las Vegas that are used to the climate, used to the heat, and bring them into your program and help them grow. It's that simple. I say this, it sounds crazy, but one of the biggest things I've learned in college football over the years was that documentary of Miami. I know everybody remembers the U, right? That documentary was fantastic, but I loved that first coach that came in. You could say he cheated all you want, but the guy was smart. He said, I'm not going to go to Georgia. I'm not going to go to Texas to get my players. South Florida is the biggest market of college athletes, future college athletes in the country. So I'm going to cut Miami in half, and I'm just going to focus on recruiting that area. I think Barry Odom is telling his staff, focus on Nevada. We have great players here. We have great players in this southwest region of the United States. Let's pound it out, man. Let's go out and get our boys, and let's continue to win. Right now, UNLV is projected to win 8-9 games. That's actually really good for UNLV. We're talking about a group of 5 team. What I can tell you is if they steal 1 or 2 wins against like a Boise State, right? If they can steal 1 or 2 wins against a Boise State or a San Diego State, who I think is going to be much better this year, I think we're looking at a team that's competing for a Mountain West title. Fresno State, like if they beat Fresno State, Boise State, and San Diego State, I think we're looking at a Mountain West title winner. Seriously. And you're opening up your season and testing your roster against a Big 12 team. That's fantastic. And you have the experts saying that there's a good chance that UNLV wins that game. That's incredible to me. So if you guys ever want to take a look at that, they have a website called dratings.com. It's a predictor. It's a week-to-week predictor. I mean, it can kind of help you, get an idea of what you're looking for on a week-to-week basis. I'm not one that condones gambling. I'm just saying it gives you ideas of, what you can see, how teams are looking, give you kind of a predictor. Vegas usually knows what they're talking about. You may not like to do it, but it's a trap. Vegas knows what they're talking about. That's just what they do. So don't be afraid to check those out. Looking at UNLV's schedule. So here's their schedule in a nutshell. I can't believe they finished with Kansas last year. And they were competitive, but good Lord. You open with Houston. You then play Utah Tech. Utah Tech should be a win. Houston, as of right now, is projected as a win. You play Kansas again. Oh, my Lord. Kansas in Lawrence. And Kansas is no joke, guys. This isn't the Kansas of old where they maybe win 1 or 2 games. Like, this Kansas team is different. They compete with Kansas State on a yearly basis now. They compete with Oklahoma. Like, it seems like if Oklahoma gets upset, it's Kansas. I'm not kidding. Like, for the last 10 years, if Oklahoma gets upset, it seems to be Kansas that's doing it. So Kansas is not a joke. Like, they'll come and punch you in the face. They may be a basketball school, but they're starting to figure things out there. That'll be a tough game. So what I'm saying is you have a pretty decent schedule for the UNLV Rebels. You got Houston, you got Utah Tech, Kansas, Fresno State. Then they play Syracuse for some reason. Why? That is so weird. Like, that is an ACC matchup. That's so weird. Utah State, Oregon State. I mean, I can't call them the Pac-12 anymore. It's the Pac-2. But Oregon State, that won't be easy. It just depends. They have a new coach, right? Is that going to be the same kind of environment that we've seen over the last few years? Probably not, because the Oregon State coach went elsewhere. He decided to take a bigger job. It's the way it is. Oregon State, you have Boise State. Again, Boise State, San Diego State, which is 2 weeks from them. I even think San Jose State's no joke, right? Sometimes they were sneaky good last year. If UNLV can sneak out some wins against Fresno, Boise, and San Diego State, I think we're looking at a team that could win the title. Now, when I look at this schedule, what do I see? I'm with Larry. I talked about him before the show started. I would have picked Houston to win that game. The season opener against Houston at Houston against UNLV, but for some reason UNLV is touted, and it's because they're loaded with 3+ star guys. I'm not kidding. Barry Odom and them did a great job. You have a former SEC defensive coordinator. He knows how to find talent. Say what you want about Missouri, but they've been extremely relevant in the SEC East for the last, decade, if you will, winning about 8-9 wins a year and rebuilding twice for that matter. So Barry Odom knows what he's doing. He knows how to get players there. I think UNLV is getting stronger. I think you're seeing a better and better recruiting class on a year-to-year basis. I do believe that because things are homegrown, it's better for them. So when I look at this schedule, I think it's a win against Houston, believe it or not. I like it. I think they beat Utah Tech. I don't see them beating Kansas. If they beat Kansas, this is a really good team, guys. Like, this is a great metric. If they're competitive with Kansas, you know that this is an excellent football team in the Mountain West. Fresno State's not going to be easy. Fresno State loves to air it out. They score a lot of points, man. That's just something they're always really good at, is finding a quarterback that can spread it out and score a lot of points. That'll be an interesting game. If they can win that game, that just tells me we have a really good team. Syracuse, again, that great. I think that's going to be an up and coming team this year. Remember, they got that transfer from Ohio State, that quarterback transfer from Ohio State. Syracuse is not going to be they're not going to be a scrub. They're not going to be easy to play. Syracuse always plays hard, and that's in Las Vegas, not in New York. So that might help. Utah State, you never know with them. Oregon State, they had a good year last year, but they lost some key pieces and their coach, so you don't know with that. Boise State's tough. That's a tough team. There's a possibility they lose that game. Boise State to me is like, I don't know how Boise State's not a Big Ten team. The way they play football. Like, I'm just being real with you guys. Boise State is a Big Ten team. They're just in the wrong, like, they just don't have the enrollment. They just, I don't know if they have the resources of a Big Ten school, but they have Big Ten style in this conference. San Diego State's the same way to me. Hawaii, I think they blow them out. We're looking at a 7-8 win schedule, which is phenomenal for a group of 5 team, especially when you look at their schedule in 2 weeks out of a month stretch, from the September 13th to October 4th, you play 2 Power 4 teams. And I'm still giving them the edge in saying I think that they win 7 or 8 games. That's kind of where we're at with them. So I really like UNLV this year. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. The Rebels are definitely climbing. They're getting better. And I know we'll be able to give you guys better coverage on them now. It seems like we're going to see them more often too. They're going to be on ESPN more often, even though they're later games. We're going to see them on ESPN more often as well. Transitioning over to another Las Vegas town, or another Las Vegas mainstay, would be Bishop Gorman High School. Why is this important? One, they're a feeder to UNLV, right? They're a nationally ranked, like this year they're ranked number 2. Last year they were the national champions. 2023, national champions of high school football. So they're an unbelievable program right now. Since 1970, they've won 25 state titles. Since 1970, they've won 25 state titles, and that includes the national title there. Multiple national championships. We have 1, 2, 3 national championships in 50 years at the high school level, where there are thousands of high schools, guys. Thousands of high schools. It's incredible to me. Those are great stats. And they're starting out number 2 this year. No big deal. No big deal. But they're starting out number 2. Listen, guys, it's like the preseason ratings. I was talking to Larry. Larry thinks they're kind of getting screwed on that. I understand. They're the former national champions. They should probably be a little bit higher. But at the same time, they're at number 2, and usually it just means that the team in front of them has a bunch of returning seniors, and the writers or people that put out the rankings, like Max Preps, they just believe that those guys are just better players right now. But I guarantee you it's probably a 1A, 1B thing. But they have to put somebody number 1 in the preseason rankings. So if you're Bishop Gorman, you have a chip on your shoulder because you won last year. You should be the guys. Maybe you feel disrespected. I'm just saying. One of my favorite players of all time, Yukio says this, one of my favorite players of all time, but Steelers players, Randall Cunningham, was from UNLV. Awesome, dude. Those are great facts. That's a great fact. Thank you so much. Any more people in the chat know some UNLV players that were absolute legends? Shout them out, man. Participate. I'm going to shout you out if you're in the chat, as we've done most of the show already. But back to Bishop Gorman. Bishop Gorman is one of those powerhouses in the national spotlight. Parochial school. They do a great job of recruiting in the Las Vegas area. And it's one of those things, man, like they have it figured out. And they're playing teams from all over the country. Their schedule. I mean, Kahuku, I think I said that right. It's a Hawaii team. So a Hawaii team's coming down. St. Thomas Aquinas, guys, that is in Florida. That is one of the major nationally ranked academies every single year in almost all sports in Miami, right? Miami? I think it's Miami. But St. Thomas Aquinas is in Florida. They're up there with IMG Academy, guys. That's how good St. Thomas Aquinas is. And you got a Bishop Gorman team that's traveling to Florida to play them. Mater Dei, I don't think that they're not a slump either. Mater Dei is a really good high school. So when you look at this team, I mean, Coronado, that's a Utah team. Like, they're all over the place. So it isn't just your high school team that's going to be playing Las Vegas teams within Vegas in general, because this program's gotten so big that they can play outside of that level of play, and they can compete at higher levels. I think it's impressive. We're definitely going to give them some more coverage this year. Some of the things that they do and note people that they push out. So for example, when you look at Nevada recruits, top Nevada recruits for 2024, tight end out of Bishop Gorman, 6'3", 240 pounds. He's a 4-star kid. He signed with Miami. Xander Rugoli. I don't know if I said that right. He's a 6'7", 290-pound tackle. That's a big tackle, guys. That's a huge tackle. For an incoming freshman next year, 290 pounds, this kid is 10 pounds away from 300 pounds. By the time he finishes college, it'll probably be a lean 320. Like, he'll be somebody that's big enough to be considered a draft prospect kind of stuff. And he's committed to Nebraska. Go Huskers, Husker power. You know how that is. Bishop Gorman's quarterback, 5'11", 180, signed with Hawaii. He's going to air it out. David Washington, that'd be the Las Vegas Academy. Devon Rice going to Kansas State. Guys, Kansas State is not a slouch. Kansas State's no joke. And the fact that this running back is being touted by Kansas State from Bishop Gorman, Chris Kleiman knows what he's doing when it comes to running backs. Look at his last 4 or 5 running backs. They're all dudes. They're all studs at Kansas State. This kid must be something. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting a look at Chris Kleiman's system. So we got a Kansas State commit, Washington commit, Audric Harris, wide receiver. I mean, look at this list, man. Micah Capana, he's going to Michigan. If you're telling me Michigan is interested in you as a running back, as deep as they are on a year-to-year basis, you're a legit player. You're an absolute legit player. So Bishop Gorman on this list, let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players in the top 17 in Nevada are Bishop Gorman players, and they're all committed to a Division I school. That's incredible. And that doesn't count probably another 10 that are probably going D2 because of how deep the program is. And D3 is no joke either, guys. It's college athletics. It gets you a chance to get your degree and become a member of society a little bit faster. Hopefully they have great scholarships involved with this. Being that they're a parochial school, they have probably more resources for the kids to get a better education so they can qualify for more grants and more scholarships. That's impressive. So Bishop Gorman's doing great things, and they're a nationally ranked deal. So we're definitely going to cover them more here on the Sin City Sports Show. And I will say, from an accountability standpoint, that is my bad for not covering them sooner. This is awesome. This is great stuff. We're going to keep track of them, and we might as well add them to our whiteboard special. If we're doing Raiders, if we're doing UNLV, if I can find Bishop Gorman content and review some of that, because I do have access to Huddle, I imagine they're using that as well. We should be talking. 100% should be talking about some of the Bishop Gorman things they do, because they will, again, be a nationally ranked team, and they will probably be going for a defending national championship, like a second straight national championship. There's no reason why they shouldn't. So that's Bishop Gorman as of right now. And another positive, we were just talking about UNLV. UNLV right here on this list of Nevada, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 17, and what looks to be 7 of the top 17 Nevada recruits are going to UNLV. So Barry Odom and UNLV doing a great job of recruiting within Las Vegas. They're not going too far to go get their kids. I think that's super smart, man. You got a lot of scholarships. You might as well use them wisely. Short on the show, but we're transitioning over to the Raiders. Camp is underway, folks. Camp is underway, as you guys know. Training camps are underway for a lot of teams. We had the Hall of Fame game last week. That's always fun. I know it was Chicago, so 2 people watched. But Chicago and Houston, both teams actually look like they could have a promising year. If Caleb Williams stays healthy and he progresses, Chicago's not a bad team. Like, their roster is actually really good. Houston's going to be a juggernaut this year. I really do believe that. I think Houston can win the AFC South. I truly believe that. I don't know who else is like. The Colts would have to have an unbelievable year. The Jaguars would have to get over their slump, right? I don't know. The Titans are just not going to be very good. I think Bill Callahan, I think they're going to put together a good offensive showing, but I don't know what their defense is going to be like without Mike Vrabel. So I'm excited about those teams, right? We saw the Hall of Fame game. That was a lot of fun. It's just great to see football back. What are your guys' thoughts, chat? Tell me. Larry, you tell me. What are your thoughts on the new kickoff rule? It's kind of interesting. It was kind of interesting. This is what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to see returns for touchdowns again. I truly believe that. I think we're going to see more of them this year than we have before because these guys that are running after the ball don't have as much of a head start as they used to back in the old kickoff days. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. So I think what we're going to see is more touchdowns. So I also think that a couple roster spots moving forward will probably be designated for returner.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, folks, to Sin City Sports Show. I do apologize for that technical difficulty. All of a sudden, I'm looking up and I'm on a different screen. Like I'm completely cut off. And props to Larry B, by the way, production expert extraordinaire over here. He said, I'm just going to go ahead and play a drop for Drewski at Heart of Texas Sports. Unfortunately, Drewski is a Cowboys fan, but I'm not going to give him too much crap because the Houston Texans are relevant. He'll be able to talk about a relevant team for once. Shout out to Drewski, man. Drewski pops in the chat every once in a while. He's a good teammate here on IE Sports Radio. Back to the Raiders. So the new kickoff rule, I think it's pretty cool. I think we're going to see more kickoff returns for a touchdown. Why is that relevant? The Raiders are really, really practicing that at camp. Like they are trying to be the best they can possibly be on special teams. And you saw a massive improvement at the end of the year last year when it came to punt and kickoff coverage. Like we were completely flipping the field. You have two of the best kickers in the league, right? You have one of the best punters in the league. You have one of the best field goal kickers in the league. And you're going to be able to use special teams to get points and maybe steal a game or two this year. What I would say is this: camp, it's been physical. It's been hardworking. It's been rough. All the reporters like Hondo Carpenter, Bill Williamson and such, they're out here saying Vic Tafur, they're all saying the same things. Like this has been an extremely physical camp. Not something we're used to seeing as Raiders fans, especially from the Josh McDaniels days, right? It looked disorganized and arrogant. This is a team that's practicing with a purpose. What I love is when I'm watching some of camp coverage, you see Antonio Pierce in a huddle with Marvin Lewis, Joe Philbin, and Tom Coughlin kind of looking over his shoulder. You can tell that he's asking questions with Marvin Lewis. He's asking Super Bowl winning coach Tom Coughlin, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this drill? Are we running it the right way? Does it look efficient? Like you're getting guidance from some of the better coaches and winning coaches that we've seen in a couple decades. Say what you want about Marvin Lewis, guys. The guy won 10 games a year in Cincinnati. We haven't really seen that since, right? Now, I love their new coach, Zach Taylor, former Nebraska Husker quarterback, right? Guy was tough as nails. Love him. But he can't guarantee 10 wins a year like Marvin Lewis did. Marvin Lewis's only issue was he would get bounced in the playoffs on a yearly basis. Doesn't mean his input isn't invaluable. If the Raiders won 10 games a year, dude, we're looking at a different outlook, right? we wouldn't be such a joke. If the Raiders won 10 games a year, we wouldn't see all the negativity about the Raiders that we do, right? And that's just the reality of it. I love that we're seeing pictures and photos and video of a young head coach, inexperienced head coach, but one that has really captured the locker room. I love that we're seeing him surrounded by experienced former head coaches. There's just something about that, guys. That just tells me this coaching staff is ready to go. From my understanding, this defense has absolutely been wreaking havoc in camp. They've been a problem. They're going to be a problem this year. They have depth on the defensive line. The linebacker spot, a little thin, but they have depth at DB. Jacorian Bennett looks phenomenal. A second year out of Maryland. I remembered his name from last time, Larry. I said I wouldn't do that again. I did it this time. Jacorian Bennett is number 0, right? Number 0. And he's one of our starting corners alongside Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs. Sounds like Trayvon Morg has gone off. Trey Taylor is a hard-hitting sumbitch, by the way. That kid out of Air Force ain't playing around, boys. And Marcus Epp is still around. I think this defense is going to be a very good defense. I really do. What I'm worried about at this point is the quarterback play. And that's been kind of the theme, right? That's been the theme this offseason. Who's going to take the reins? Week 1, a lot of folks thought Aiden O'Connell had an edge. After this last week, folks are saying Gardner Minshew. And here's my thing. I've been saying for weeks, if the Raiders are going to start anybody, it just needs to be Aiden. Right? Don't waste our time. Gardner Minshew is not a franchise quarterback. He's not a Rich Gannon. He's not going to step in and win you 12 games a year and go for an MVP. It's not going to happen. So what you're telling me if you start Gardner Minshew is that we do not have our franchise quarterback. And it's going to raise questions. It's going to have a fan base and a front office asking, why the hell did you not trade up for your guy if you have a roster like you think you do? And you hate that because it was smart. They shouldn't have traded up. They should have built a roster. And I think their roster's in a better place now because they built a roster. The problem is there's a possibility that this offense holds us back to about 8 wins instead of 10 or 11 wins because the schedule is absolutely brutal, guys. I'm just being real with you, man. This Raiders schedule is brutal, and we're going to need good quarterback play. So what's going to happen? Well, Antonio Pierce is going to be smart. Luke Getsy is going to try and be smart. They're going to do a good job of running the football. Luke Getsy, the last 2 years of Chicago Bears, say what you want with what went down with Justin Fields. Justin Fields just couldn't stay healthy, by the way. I don't put that on Luke Getsy right now. I just don't think Justin Fields could stay healthy at the time. I think Chicago Bears' offensive line was shit, and I think it was getting him hurt. That's just a reality. Luke Getsy was the number 1, number 2 rushing offense in the league the last 2 years. So I would expect that from the Raiders. I would expect him to get that going with the Raiders. If the Raiders are a top 5 rushing attack, you're going to see a quarterback have success. One of the quarterbacks. Because at the very minimum, you're going to see great play action. And we're going to see the ball get moved. I know the defense is going to be great. If you run the ball efficiently, you're going to run out the clock faster. And I think that's what this team's going to be. It's going to be hard-nosed, physical, ball control, play great defense. I truly believe that. But don't be shocked, right? If there's a lot of weapons on this team, man. A lot of weapons. Like Devontae Adams is a stud. We all know that. But he's going to garner a ton of attention. Jacoby Myers had a near 1,000-yard season last year. Jacoby Myers played really well. You have Trey Tucker who's coming out of his shell. He's going to have a second-year leap. Speedster out of Cincinnati. I think Trey Tucker is going to be impressive. And he's been impressive in camp. Like he's the deep threat. And he's running past dudes with ease. I love Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. I think those two are an unbelievable tandem at tight end. And then at running back, you got Alexander Madison and you have Zeus, Zamir White, toting the football. All you have to focus on is making sure you have a really, really good starting 5 on your offensive line and protect the quarterback and put him in situations to win games, to win plays, and I think you're going to be fine. So I'm still in the belief that the Raiders could win 9-10 wins. I still believe that, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill battle. Here's the schedule, right? Here's the schedule. We got 3 preseason games, none of which matter because you rarely ever see the starters, unfortunately. That's just the way preseason is. It's going to get to the point where I don't even know if preseason is going to be relevant anymore. It wouldn't surprise me if the NFL tries to remove one so they can add a regular season game, as greedy as they are. And they got to make back $18 billion anyway because they got to pay out for that Sunday ticket fiasco. But the Raiders start at the Chargers, at the Ravens. They play at home against the Panthers, winnable game. Those first two are going to be rough, guys. I think that the Chargers game is winnable, but if Justin Herbert is healthy, if he isn't dealing with the plantar fascia BS, and Jim Harbaugh really does what I think he could do with this team, that's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be easy. The Ravens, I think they beat the brakes off of us. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Every time we go to Baltimore, that's a tough win. Like it's a tough road. And last time I think we went to Baltimore, we lost by a few scores. It's just the reality. Raiders suck in East Coast. I can't tell you why. It's just the reality. Panthers are coming to town. I think we win that game. The Browns are iffy. I don't know if Deshaun Watson is the same Deshaun Watson we saw in Houston. I don't know if he ever will be. So if he's not, there's a chance to win that game. Again, ball control, play great defense. That could be a really low scoring game, by the way, that Browns game, because the Browns have an excellent defense. Broncos, that's a W. Steelers, I don't know, man. The way Justin Fields has been looking, woof. Rams, if Matt Stafford's healthy, and it's tough to say that because he has a hard time staying healthy. It's not his fault. I think he's just been beat up throughout his career. Thanks, Detroit. I think that's tough. But if he's healthy, that's going to be a tough game. Chiefs coming to the Raiders Stadium. I don't know, man. I think that Kermit the Frog thing is probably going to come back to haunt us. I ain't going to lie to you. Like, it was hilarious. Not necessary, but it was hilarious. But I feel like that's just going to come back to haunt us. Like, watch Patrick Mahomes throw for 6 touchdowns in that game. Just to spite us. And he goes, we're here. We're here. You know, in his Kermit voice that he does. Watch him go. I'm just saying. Bengals, Joe Burrow, if he stays healthy, dude, I'm telling you, this is a tough schedule. So reality, here's this. Chargers, they're probably going to be competitive, really competitive. They may still be third in the division. You don't know. But Jim Harbaugh is really, I think they're going to overachieve. It wouldn't surprise me if they win 9 games. Ravens, excellent team. I think the Browns are an excellent team. I think the Steelers are going to be above average. They're going to be kind of on the same level playing field as the Raiders at this point. But if Justin Fields plays the way he's been playing in practice, it could spell trouble for the league in general because they got a ton of weapons and they have their shit together in Pittsburgh, especially under Mike Tomlin. The Rams are always a good team. Even without Aaron Donald, dude, I'm telling you, they're a good team. Really good team. They still have Matt Stafford. They're still going to be able to do things. The Chiefs are an excellent team. Bengals, I think they're an excellent team. Dolphins are extremely talented. Then you play the Chiefs again following the Broncos game. Like, when you look at our schedule, guys, the Buccaneers are probably on the same level playing field. Falcons, I'd probably say the same thing. Jaguars, again, you got a young team but talented. Saints, this is what I think is going to happen. And I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to bring any ill will, but I'm being real with you guys because I said I'll always do that, be transparent. Theoretically, the Raiders could be playing for a playoff spot going into that Saints game. And how bad would it suck if Derek Carr goes off for like 4 or 5 touchdowns and the Saints win the game and keep the Raiders out of the playoffs this year? Just something in my gut makes me feel like we're going to absolutely regret. And it's hilarious because the biggest Derek Carr haters out there on Twitter are saying, dude, I would rather have him back. And some of these guys over these two, absolutely. Like, you're seeing people say, like, the buyer's remorse thing. We have this cap space and we probably could have afforded him this year, but our former staff decided to get rid of him. And I'll be real with you, man. I think Derek Carr is kind of, he just seems like an Antonio Pierce type player too. Show up, bring your lunch pail, work, take care of the football. All things Derek Carr did. I'm just saying. I don't know, man. Something tells me that we're going to go into that Week 17 game on December 29th against the Saints in New Orleans, for that matter. In New Orleans. That could be a rough outing. I don't want it to be, but it could be a rough outing. And the Saints are really talented. And that offense, according to their practice, their camps, is really coming together under that Kubiak system. That 49ers offense in a Saints uniform is going to be scary. And then you finish with the Chargers. Again, if you beat the Saints and you're going into Week 18, this could be a replay of a couple of years ago where you are win and you're in. It's that simple. But something tells me in my gut, we're going to go into that Saints game and it's just going to be taken from us. And it's one of those things where you're going to have fans just absolutely going off and rubbing it in on Twitter. That's just the way it is. It's how it goes. So we need Aiden O'Connell to step up. I'm serious, guys, when I say this. And I'm saying this in closing the show. We need Aiden O'Connell to step up. If the Raiders don't play Aiden O'Connell, if they start Gardner Minshew, to me, this is a wasted season. Because say what you want, Gardner Minshew is not going to win us a Super Bowl. He's just not going to. And if Gardner Minshew's your answer, you don't have your franchise guy. And Raiders fans and people out there that have been really patient with the team for 20 years, they're going to wonder what's your solution for that. I personally believe the Raiders need to start Aiden O'Connell, give him an opportunity with these weapons, let him get comfortable in the system, more comfortable in the system as a second-year player, and see what he does for the season. Because we have to see what we have. If the guy throws 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, he's probably not our guy. He's serviceable. He's a good backup. We'll move on. But who's to say with these weapons and this defense, he can't throw for 28 touchdowns and 7 interceptions? I think that would be a successful year. I really do. But the Raiders need to start him. We need to see what he has. This whole best available thing, it's for the birds to me. Like sometimes it's about optics too. And when you look at the statistics, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew have the same statistics. Gardner Minshew is a 7-year player, right? And you had a rookie that was competing with him in a tumultuous situation. Indy was a better roster last year. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm rolling with Aiden. I'm seeing what we have. And if he absolutely tanks and fails, then go with Gardner Minshew. But I'd rather go that route and see what we have in Aiden than taking a risk and doing something stupid, right? Like, let the young kid sling it. He's on a 4th-round deal. Let him sling it. Let's see what he's got. And it seems like he's got the support of Devontae Adams and the company. So let's trust him. Let's see what we can do. This is the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums, at SinCity_IESR, at Kayle_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. This is IE Vegas. If you guys missed the show, don't even worry about it. We're on every single platform you could ask for. Apple Pods, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music. We're on all of the main forums. We're on YouTube. Once the show ends, Larry does a great job of uploading that, so you guys can definitely review that. That's going to come in handy in the season when we start doing some whiteboard and film review. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys look at the YouTube, send a like, share, like the algorithms. Go to iesportsradio.com. Check out the merch. Also, check out our store. Check out our website in general. Check out our shows. Show some support, love. It helps the algorithms and it helps the station. As always, folks, we'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the Sin City Sports Show. As always, folks, love, peace, and hair grease.